about lost connection due to lack of communication. What do you think of that?
So you are talking about relationships, right?
I think just, yes, any kind of relationship doesn't need to be romantic, but of how much really is lost because of the lack of communication.
So that's a very good point. So according to me, communication is of the utmost importance,
Mhm.
apart from a lot of different things, because sometimes as humans, we tend to think while we are in a relationship, we take the other person for granted, and we would think that the other person would understand what or how we are feeling.
Yeah.
And sometimes the other person does not know, because it's very hard to know even yourself. So how can you know about somebody else? And there are a lot of factors. Sometimes people do know, but they tend to be close. They want that to be communicated to them, like everything should be communicated to them. So even when the other person is not understanding, so just speak your truth, like, hey,
Mhm.
I didn't like what you did that time.
Mhm.
That's a form of a complaint. But even communication, like if you did something good, like you made a good tea, so it's very good to just communicate and tell that person that I really love the tea you made for me. Like if my
Mm.
mother is making something for me, if I would appreciate and communicate how I felt after eating something like good food or anything, if I communicated that to her, she would feel loved and she would feel appreciated. And the next time she would also want to give more to me. But sometimes what we do is we keep things to ourselves, and we think that everyone will understand, or sometimes people think that everyone should understand
Mhm.
what we are or how we are feeling. Especially I've seen this in the women side. They think that if I can feel it from my side, that how is he feeling in the moment, how why he cannot feel that. So there, so that feeling comes, that intuition comes to women naturally. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily that every man or most of the men do not have this faculty. They have to work on themselves to get there.
Mm.
So as I said, that my spiritual awakening happened, so I got to know about my intuition. I start to learn about my intuition. So in terms of communication, I got to know that there are a lot of things that I need to communicate to set up healthy boundaries in a relationships. But when I did that, even that communication turned the relationship sour. Why? Because that person was not ready to respect those boundaries, right? But at the end, in the long run, even if that relationship ended after some time because of my communication, but it was a good thing for me and for her as well, right?
Mhm.
Because we were not aligned
Yeah.
on a very on a few things, because we were not aligned. Sooner or later, it was about to happen. It could happen in a very toxic manner, the breakup. But since we already I communicated my boundaries, that hey, I don't want this in my life, I don't like this behavior, if you can correct it, it's okay. If not, then let's part our ways. And we
Mhm.
did, and it happened
Mhm.
so beautifully. So that's how I see communication is important. And not just about words. Even when you are just sitting
Yeah.
with each other, even the eyes can communicate. Sometimes you feel the energies, but that's a different level. I
Yeah.
don't even expect anybody to be on that level.
I sometimes do.
Every woman does, I
Yeah,
know.
exactly. We expect you guys to be mind readers.
As if we have some kind of like superpower that we would understand what you guys are thinking. I'm telling you, we don't have a clue. So you need to tell
Mhm.
us. You need to come and tell us, hey,
Exactly.
I need this, or I want you to do this for me, or whatever XYZ.
Yes, exactly. So, um, I would say those are very important factors. in a relationship, you should be able to communicate. If it's a healthy relationship, I think even if in friendship, you should communicate your thoughts, your needs very clearly, because then the other person can understand you better. I've had a lot of friends growing up where I wasn't able to even say no, or to set clear boundaries. Even if I didn't like something, I didn't know how to tell them no, or I can't do this, I can't do that. So I noticed, of course, obviously the friendship is then built on wrong reasons, because you're not able to be yourself, and it's it's going to maybe along that line. So it's going to like very toxic situations, and then situations come where you don't really understand each other, and they do something, you don't understand why they did it, you're gonna act or react a certain way, and then they don't understand why you're acting a certain way. So yes, I've always said communication is very, very important. With some people, though, I feel that once your energy is aligned and you're vibrating on the same level, I feel that they automatically or naturally understand from what place you're coming from. So you don't need to explain yourself much.
Yeah, true. And the point that you bring about not able to say no, that's a pain area for a lot of people. Again, especially for women, because a woman is not wired to say no. She's actually wired to say yes, because
Yeah,
she is very empathic. She's nurturing. She
yeah,
is a giver. So that's why it's very hard for a woman to say no. And in today's world, or in any time and space, I would say, it's essential that you need, or you should know how to say no, or when to say no.
yes.
Even being a guy, I was like that. I
Yeah,
had no idea how to like say no to a few situations, and those situations took away a lot of energy out of me. So,
definitely.
so rather than focusing upon myself and my goals, I was giving away my energies to these energy vampires. I call them energy vampires. You know, like most of the time they're like that. People will come and suck up on your energy just because they want some attention. Even if you trying to help them and giving some advice, you would see that they would continue to keep on doing the same things and not follow your advice, and then again come back and cry in front
Mhm.
of you and say blah blah blah. It took me a lot of time to get there, that hey, this person is just coming for towards me for having this kind of attention,
Mhm.
and they are not going to make any change in their life. So I
Yeah.
start to like say no. Hey, I already gave you this advice. I already gave you the tools. It's up to you if you want to apply it. I cannot see any change in you, and you're
Yeah.
coming back with the same thing. So I think you need to ponder upon it, because I'm not going to give you my energy on this topic ever again. So that's how I learned. But this awareness came from meditation. When I started
Mm.
meditating, that's how these things started to like get activated. And in when you say communication, in the term of the chakras or the yogas, the throat chakra, whenever the throat chakra is underactive or blocked, you're not able to speak your truth, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
That's
that.
it's funny you mentioned that, because for a longest time my throat chakra was blocked. Actually, ever since growing up into adulthood, I think it started opening up when maybe when I was 20 or 21.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was always blocked. I would always have, and it's funny because I would always have problems with my throat. Like I would always have those sore throats or some throat infection,
Yeah.
or yeah, it was just always, I was always sick in there because I wasn't able to communicate clearly what I needed and what I wanted, because I somehow saw friends or friendships, for example, in a sense that a friend should always be there to do anything for their friend. For me, friendship meant it was like unconditional loyalty. But later on, I understood and realized no matter, we cannot keep on giving of ourselves if we are not nurtured, if we are not nurturing our own needs. So it is very important to, because I started, feeling frustrated in situations. I started not feeling good or low of energy, or very tired all the time. And then but with experience, I realized when the power in saying no, and saying that in a healthy way, or saying that you can also say that in a kind way. You don't need to be rude.
Absolutely.
I never went on to a road of disrespect. But if somebody cannot appreciate or understand where your boundaries stand, then I don't think they respect you enough, and I don't think they should need to even have that space in your life.
Exactly. And you will find these kind of people who does not understand kindness, who does not understand healthy boundaries. So even I communicate that very kindly to people. And if this still does not understand, then I need to be more assertive to tell them that, hey, this is not going to work out with me. This is not the energy that I entertain in my life. My life is a drama-free zone. So I don't entertain unnecessary drama in my life, because if I would start to entertain these kind of things in my life, so what kind of message I'm going out into the universe? So whatever the message I'm putting out into the universe, it's going to come back all around, like back to me. So that's why it's very important to have these healthy boundaries and learning how to say no. And and it's so good that you mentioned about that you were having these symptoms in your throat and infection and everything. It was the same with me. That shows the how our psyche is connected, our mind is connected to our bodies.
Yeah.
Because the body is always following but is inside of us.
Yes.
Whatever is inside of us, we are going to manifest on the outside. It's just like the universe is just like a mirror. This is the microcosm of the macrocosm that we see outside.
Exactly.
And everything exists inside of us. When I got to know about this, then my life started to change. It was not a drastic change. It was quite a slow change, because it takes time, because not everything is linear in this universe.